Mistakes certainly were made this weekend, but the games could have gone worse and they could have gone better. If you can't tell, that means it was probably a 1-1 week, but I'm excited to talk about it, so let's talk some TSM. That's right, everybody. We did go 1-1 this weekend, or this week, I guess. I keep saying weekend, but it's a little bit of both. And things could have gone worse. Things could have gone better. I think, we had a chance to go 2-0. I really do believe that, and yeah, I think we'll just kind of dive in here with this first game, the Evil Geniuses game, where Wild Turtle had his first game on the LCS stage in many, many years, and his first game with TSM in even more years. I think it's like 6 years now or something like that, since he was last in a TSM uniform on stage. And, they instantly go to the Protect the President comp with Wild Turtle, which is a lot of pressure, and I really didn't completely understand some of the ways that we went about things. So, let's start it off here in picks and bans, where I was okay with the bans. I know some people weren't, but I really didn't see anything that I think Evil Geniuses played that was overly powerful. I felt like getting the Zeri Lulu was really nice for us, and then later on in the draft, they end up picking the Akali. The fact that Aurelion Sol didn't get banned until the second round of bans, or picked even, was a bit confusing for me. I would have really liked that pick for us, to be honest with you. I think we could have gone Zeri Lulu with an Aurelion Sol. Well, I guess we had to take the Vi. Never mind. We had to take the Vi, so I guess we were kind of just giving Aurelion Sol. I don't really understand why they didn't end up picking it themselves, but that's okay. But then in the back half, we end up going with the Galio, which you guys know for all of basically season 2 of this show. Well, really, actually, no, season 1. Yeah, season 1 of the show. I talked about Galio, 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 Galio. I love Galio. I think Galio is great. But you need more sources of damage, especially on the AP side, right? It's like when people would just play Maokai with a whole bunch of either AD threats or, Jace specifically, it felt like, right? And I personally just didn't feel like that worked. I don't like that. And Galio is good, and when he goes Night Harvester, sure, he can pump out some damage, but it's not enough to really be considered a true threat to me. And I get, again, that Maple, it's one of his best champions. I'm sure it's a great counter to Akali, but I feel like we should have had something a little bit more AP damagey focus. And I think Solo could have just played the Ornn and still given you a similar result, or even like a Shen, if you're really wanting to do truly Protect the President comp. I think Shen matches up pretty decently into Renekton as well. So, there were things that could have been done. Boogie's going up there and helping try to get the top lane ahead, because the bot lane, while it was looking better and they had a good push, we just couldn't seemingly make the dives and everything necessary that we needed. And this game just slowly slipped away from us, even though we had a pretty good start. It was good in the early game. The late game, we just let JoJo get too fed. And the weird part is, we won a fight later in the game that allowed us to get the Elder Drake, and things were looking so good. And then for some reason, Boogie goes into the Wolves camp on the enemy side and just dies. Like, uber greedy move. Maybe it cost us a game, maybe not. I felt like momentum was shifting. Like, you can literally see it right here in this graph, right? Is like we take the Elder, and bam, we're instantly right back in the game. We're winning fights. We got them on the back foot. It feels like we have a good way to stop the Akali while Turtle is scaling. The plan is starting to come together, and unfortunately, Boogie makes a big oopsie. Something that he could probably do in solo queue, honestly. I've done it many times. You feel like you just want to fight. You just push them back. You can jump into their jungle and things are going to be okay. Unfortunately, that was not the case. And he gets caught and then we lose. Pretty much just as simple as that, to be honest with you. Because it was great to see that I think we had a great early game. I think we actually had a pretty strong late game. Our mid game was just really bad, and we allowed for JoJo to just pretty much do whatever he wanted to. FBI really wasn't much of a factor until later in the game anyways. Someday was pretty much not a factor at all. And even Solo had some good plays, especially on the Gnar. He can make plays on the Gnar. It's just, I think Ornn is just better in this situation because he's a tank all the time, not a tank some of the time. And it's a lot easier to start the fights. It's easier to reach the back line because, you're kind of worried about that Aphelios, right? And also it allows you to scale better, and I think it would have helped to get Maple maybe even a little bit stronger, honestly, making that Night Harvester level up. So I think if you even just replace the Gnar with the Ornn, I know the Gnar wins out in the side lanes and generally just in one-on-one against Renekton, but I think Ornn, maybe even Shen. I know Shen's not super popular, but if you're trying for double protect protect Wild Turtle, if you're landing a Galio ult plus a Shen ult on top of him, that man is literally never dying, and unless he's just terrible or he gets caught completely off guard. And you've got plenty of peel, you've got so much dive for the Aphelios. I just think it would have been better personally, but I know it may not have been as great in lane necessarily against Renekton, although my, silver gold self thinks, well, Shen into Renekton couldn't be that bad, right? I don't know. But this game felt like as well, we should have had the push. We should have had more dragons early on. I'm glad we got to the Elder. I think that was our first Elder of the year. And we drug this game out. We were right there until Boogie got caught. I mean, really, we really were. So I was pretty happy with this game. But, heading into the Team Liquid game, it made it all the more important because you have us, CLG, Team Liquid, and 100 Thieves fighting for those last two playoff spots. And we beat Team Liquid, in a surprise game at the beginning of the year. And I was a little bit concernicus about what was going on here because we ended up letting the Aurelion Sol and the Zeri Lulu fall into the hands of Team Liquid, and I was just oh my god, how do we stop this team? How are we going to be able to play them? And apparently just Chime and Wild Turtle just didn't care because they go bot lane. We got the Karma first, which I never really get why Karma is such an important pick. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. I'm sure she's pretty strong, obviously. I mean, her shield is huge, and her shield is huge, but the rest of it, and I know her laning is pretty strong too, to be fair, but it just felt I don't know, she didn't feel necessary. But we get Boogie on the Vi, we get the Scion on solo, which I really liked, and then Maple surprises everybody with a Syndra, and Wild Turtle surprises everybody with an Ezreal, which, if you remember, in my special episode last week, I talked about, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Ezreal. He really likes that pick, and it is kind of meta. I didn't expect him to go Duskblade, though, which I really liked that pick. But Wild Turtle and Chime, they took it to Yan and Core, and there was nothing really Yan could do about it. Pioshik just seemingly was absent. Boogie was all over him, was just playing extremely well, and every time Harry tried to do anything, Maple was just nope, QW, excuse me, and just stunning the crap out of him every time he tried to do anything. This game was fun. This game was good. We got our second Elder, although we probably shouldn't have needed it, but we dominated this game basically from the beginning. A bad invade by Pioshik leads to a kill, and he wastes his ult, and then it goes on basically a 90-second cooldown, if I remember correctly, at that level, and he was pretty much out of the game. It was a weird pick for the Nocturne. I didn't understand, who he was thinking he was going to be able to kill that quickly, because even if he jumps onto the Ezreal's jumping out. If he jumps onto Maple's stunning him before he can really get his full combo off. And who's following him in there? I guess maybe the Zeri, but that takes a second. Even Harry, it would take a second. Like Summit, they didn't play around his Gnar ultimate, like really that much at all. Solo just soaked up everything from Summit. We didn't even have to really gank, Summit all that much to make this happen. It was just like, it honestly felt like Team Liquid were just playing not to lose, and they ended up losing. They were really bad, like genuinely. That was one of the least inspiring games I've ever seen from a Team Liquid team, and that's saying a lot. It felt like old TSM, actually, where they're just like, we're scaling, oh, we lost. That's pretty much what happened in this game, and it was just like, it was dominance from start to finish. Wild Turtle, Chime specifically, by the way, had a great weekend for me, in my opinion. I think he was really strong on this Karma pick. He was constantly, stopping backs, getting great vision control, was in the perfect spot pretty much almost the entire game. Like, I was really impressed with Chime yet again. I think he had an awesome game. They were right. Wild Turtle, I think, is just better in lane. And listen, again, sorry, I keep saying again, but again, like, this team, are they the most talented team in the LCS? Probably not. Are they the most exciting team in the LCS? Definitely not. But are they all solid? They know their roles. They know what they need to do, and they're playing like a veteran team? Yeah, absolutely. And that can go a long way, especially in the spring, where teams are still trying to figure themselves out. I mean, look at Team Liquid. I mean, you're like, Pioshik literally has gone from winning a world championship to potentially not even making the playoffs in the worst region of the 4 major regions, according to most people. And like, Summit won an MVP last time he was here. He looks not great. He's not been bad. He's one of the best freaking laners, or he probably is the best laner in top lane, but he reminds me a lot of Huni. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Huni, actually. And just that he's a bit coin flippy, and he's going to get ganked a lot, and he's going to die a lot, but he's going to win lane. But he hasn't been able to carry games because that's not really the meta right now. He'd be great in like a split push meta. I think he'd be damn near unstoppable. But and then, everybody's putting pressure on Harry and Jan, and I don't think they're playing badly. It's just the rest of the team, they're just not in sync. Like, some of these team fights, you got 2 people going in, 3 people retreating. Like, they just don't seem to be on the same page at all. So really tough for Team Liquid, but great for us, because as you can see below me, we have 6 of the 8 wins that I was thinking. Most people are saying you're going to need 9 wins. I don't know for sure if that's going to be the case. I think 8's going to get it done, if I'm being honest. We got 5 games left. We still play 100 Thieves, Immortals, and Dignitas, and Golden Guardians and FlyQuest, I want to say. So, I doubt we're going to surprise FlyQuest again. But, we've got losses to Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, and CLG. 3 of the top 5 teams. We've got wins against, well, most everybody else below us. So, the 2-0 is really big for us when we're looking at these standings here, because now, even though it's only a 1-game lead over Team Liquid, for them to just outright take a position from us, they have to win 2 more games, essentially. Like, we have a 2-game lead, right? Because if they tie, we've got the tiebreaker now, so that's big. If we can beat 100 Thieves here in the next couple weeks, I don't think we play them next week. I'll be doing that episode here later, but we're in a pretty good position. If we would have beat CLG, I would have been like, hey, we're basically in, because we would have had a 2-0 over CLG, we would have had a 2-0 over Team Liquid, and then if we beat 100 Thieves, we'd have the tiebreaker. We'd have a guaranteed tiebreaker against them as well. So we would basically have a 2-game lead over everybody. But unfortunately, we've only got it right now over Team Liquid. We still, again, have to play Immortals and Dignitas. Gotta win those games at this point. There's just nothing else that can be done, if we're being honest. You just have to win those games. So, those 2 games would get us to 8 wins. That's the key. That's what I wanted. And then if we can find a 3rd win, we should be guaranteed playoffs. Like, 9 wins guarantees it. 8 wins is pretty likely. So keep that in mind as we're prepping again for this week. I'm pretty sure we play Golden Guardians and Immortals or something like that. I could be totally off. I haven't looked yet. I've had a relatively busy week, so I will be looking at that obviously before I record the next episode. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm pretty happy with with this win. I mean, that was a really important win. Like the loss to a win versus Evil Geniuses would have been great. A loss doesn't really affect us all that much, but beating Team Liquid was huge. So we got it done. Yay us. On to the next though. So and with that, I'll be on to the next, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.